Hello and welcome. So in the last video, we looked at how to get all of our apps set up on our laptop in one go with a simple, quick and easy tool called Ninite. And we'll be featuring in this video the Dell G15 once again, but this time we'll look at a solution that's a little bit more involved, what I like to call an intermediate solution. With this tool, we'll be looking at not just installing apps, a greater selection of apps there is, but also some tweaks, some configurations that just make the life and experience using Windows 11 a lot better. So before we do that, however, please subscribe to my channel, hit that notification icon so you're the first to know when there's new content available here. Let's dive in. So let's talk about this intermediate solution. We'll be using a tool that allows us to not only install a wider selection of apps and broader categories of apps, but also some configurations and tweaks that make overall life with Windows 11 better. I'll be covering those tweaks and quality of life improvements with Windows 11 using this tool in a separate video, as that is a much larger and more in-depth topic. However, let's get to this tool here and we'll show you how you can get all of your apps installed using this great and fantastic tool. So we'll fire up a browser here. We'll head over to this URL here. It's christitus.com/windows-tool. And we'll scroll a little bit down here. This is thanks to Chris Titus, another YouTuber and a great IT professional who has spent a lot of time and effort to build out this tool that allows us to fantastically install all of the tools. Now, keep in mind that in order to run this application, you'll click copy here so you can take this command and you'll hit start and we'll head over to our start menu. We'll type terminal and we'll paste this command here. One thing to note here, if you decide to run this in command prompt, it will not work and you'll be given an error because that environment does not exist here. So be sure not to use the command prompt, but rather use Windows Terminal. So you'll saw here, you'll open up the start menu, search for terminal, and you should have a Windows Terminal application to run this. If you do not have Windows Terminal, you can also look at PowerShell. PowerShell should be installed with all the latest versions of Windows 11 if you've been running all of the updates. Paste this command here using Control-Shift-V, or you can alternatively right-click with the mouse and it will paste in for you. So whichever you prefer, keyboard shortcuts are great for productivity, but you can also just right-click and get that pasted into place there. Once you've pasted this in, we'll hit enter, and it'll be on our way. Now, in order to make sure that you can run these commands though, we'll need to make sure that we're running in administrator mode, so be sure to do that, otherwise you'll be getting errors like this. So let me just start from the beginning here. We'll hit start, how to run an application or in Windows or how to run an application as an administrator. So we'll head over to start, we'll type in terminal. This is Windows Terminal again. And over to the right, we'll see here there's an option that says Run as Administrator. So you click Run as Administrator. You'll be asked by Windows, are you sure? We'll say yes. And then we'll now get an administrator mode Windows prompt, which will allow us to use the full functionality of this tool. Now, again, we'll right click because we've already copied that URL, or rather that command, and we'll hit enter. It'll start to load up a few things, configure your system if it's not already configured to be able to run this application, and voila. So let's close everything out here. So we'll leave this running in the back, we'll minimize our terminal, and here we are. This is the application that will allow us to configure and install tons and tons of apps with a single click. Besides that command line, a little bit work about running as administrator and using PowerShell or Windows Terminal if it's available, not using the command prompt, and a little bit of copy paste action. I would consider this to be an intermediate solution. If you find any of that troubling, you can always leave me a comment below and I'm happy to help out. But if we look at this tool here, first of all, thanks very much to Chris Titus for putting all this work in. And this is an open source tool. You can actually contribute to it over on his YouTube channel. I'll leave a link to that in the description below, as well as his GitHub page where this tool is being developed and actively managed. So thank you very much to Chris Titus for actually putting this tool together. I've been using it on all of my laptops as of late to get everything configured. It's been a real blast. So we can see here once we've launched this tool, it's just a matter of clicking. I want Brave, Chrome, Edge. Let's say from the games launchers here, this is one fantastic portion of this application. We want Steam, and let's say we want to play some Battlefield. So we'll select our EA app. Once you've made your selections here, you simply click install selection. And as you can see here, it'll start running some stuff in the background. You don't really have to pay attention to that, but you must wait for the installation to complete, and the way to know that it has completed is you'll get a pop-up that says OK. So I'm just gonna wait a moment here, we'll pause the video, come back once it's done, and I'll show you that notification message that gives you an indication of success. If you enjoyed this content, please leave me a comment below, click that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so that you're notified when there's new content available here. Also, go check out my other social media networks for exclusive content that isn't available here on YouTube. During the install process, if you get messages like this while it's actually running through the installs, you may see this here in the down bottom right hand corner. We see that Brave is asking to be pinned to the taskbar. Feel free to simply ignore those messages. They'll still be present until the tool is completed. And as you can see here, installing the EA app has made this pop up so we can begin to log in. Feel free to close, or you can just leave them and ignore them until the tool is completed. We're going to wait for that critical message that says that everything is okay and done. So this is that final message that you're waiting for. Installs are finished, which means all of the applications you requested have been installed and now should be able to be used on your system. So once that's done, you can just click OK. We'll ignore this message here. Thanks to Thorium or Chrome trying to take everything over. Chromium. All right, now what we'll do is here, I'll show you quickly what some of the other features in this tool are and why I say it's intermediate. We'll be covering some of the other options in depth. And of course, this tool is also covered heavily in depth with all of the updates over on Chris's channel. So please go to the YouTube description below to see all of that information. So in addition to installation for all of these tools, which are, by the way, being added to on a regular basis, you can go over here to tweaks. And Chris has some very essential and I think quality of life improvements to Windows. We'll be covering those and talking about them in depth, particularly for desktops versus laptops, in a separate video. And there's also some configurations around installing some essential parts of Windows, which can be a little bit tricky if you're not used to them, and setting Windows Update to a more managed mode and a more tame mode rather than just updating all the time, because not all Windows updates are great. I'll tell you that from personal experience. So anyway, once you've got everything installed here, you can simply close this out, close this box as well for the Windows terminal, and voila, you have all of your apps installed. If you enjoyed this content, please leave me a comment below, click that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so that you're notified when there's new content available here. Also, go check out my other social media networks for exclusive content that isn't available here on YouTube. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.